Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 Mocks of the Week episode where I show you guys the coolest custom creations I happen to see people building in LEGO throughout this last week. Tons and tons and tons of links are in the description below if you want to learn about these builders that I'm showing you guys in this episode. And before we get started, instructions for the Rebels AT-AT minifig scale have appeared in the web store. From the designer Rob, it is an extremely detailed and very strong, surprisingly strong, large-scale walker model. And if you want to see the full video, links for that are all in the description below. Let's jump into some honorable mentions now. KitKat1414 has a wonderful micro-scale diorama here. The build for the river's awesome. I love the use of the crutch piece by the door. Wami Del Thorn has some amazing red line detailing on his Vic Viper for 2020. Here's some great looking koi fish from God Dog Brick Design. How about some nightmare fuel from Brixie63? Just keeping you guys updated with the Iowa and Missouri from Chuck. Absolutely amazing 1/200 scale models. The snow globe from Mountain Hobbit is awesome. Is the circular clear piece a single Lego windscreen piece? I'm not totally sure. It's still an amazing little build. Gregory Quells took me way back with the GDI and Nod build. Here's just another shot of Peter Brookdale's amazing ATM6. That's versus his AT-AT, all built at 1.5 minifig scale. Absolutely impressive models. Love this shot from Keith Fisher. The title is Cold Samurai. Here's a gizmo from Daniel Brickson. Fun speeder from David Roberts. Big fan of Red Letter Media, and this is an awesome half in the bag 2.0 from Gregory Quells as well. I was in fact listening to their 1984 review while making this video. Aaron Newman's Realm of Whimsy has some excellent little micro scale details. And here's a wonderful figure from Tino Putenin that is a welding axe. Really interesting shape. The Botanical Collection seems to have started inspiring a few other builders here and there. I love the orange flower that we have from James Zahn. Here's some Lego Wrestling from Andrew Del Bayer. This Ferrari F40 is very clean from Barnius. We've got another amazing render from Lego Nuts. The title is Afternoon of New Year's Day, and what looks like maybe the last of the Hobbit-themed builds, number 43 of 43 from Thorsten Bonch. This is titled The Last Stage. Amazing build for this little bridge. Righto, let's jump into the 10 now, the 10 that I feel like I can talk about a little bit more from Andreas Lenander. This is Castle Gate of Brik'neerd. I personally love the build for the door. It's a very simple brick design, but it works really well. The two turret towers on either side have a very interesting combination of pieces that help create the brick-built design here. The tan ingot pieces are absolutely everywhere, and it really makes the entire stony desert exterior really pop quite well against the olive green and light blue flowers. Hachiroku24 did a Lego Jaws diorama. Both the build for the boat and the shark are amazing. I think it's a great scale. It doesn't take up too much space and has all the pieces, all the details that you'd really want. This is on Lego Ideas right now. He did not ask me to promote it, but I do think that this is an excellent model, and it probably has a pretty good chance of getting voted through. Lego currently is in talks with Universal, so maybe a license is a little bit easier to negotiate for something like this. Really awesome build though, and the shark is my personal favorite bit of this build for sure. Number 8 moving down is a combination of 3 different tiny vignettes, and each one of them has some amazing details from Jonas Kramm. This first one is the laundry room. The surfboard makes up an excellent ironing board. The dining room has some really fun pieces here. The koi fish making up the table legs. Tennis rackets as the backs of the chairs is really cool. Boomerangs act as stabilizers for the little baby rig, and that is a flat top haircut taking the place of maybe a cake or a pastry. I'm not totally sure. The last vignette is a terrace. Color combination here is just especially good looking, and I like this little green hairpiece used as some foliage for this small potted plant. Now here is number 7 from Robson M. This is the Sherman Easy 8. This is an updated version of a previous model of his. There are a couple of pieces that are not official Lego bricks, but Lego compatible pieces that make up, let's say, the barrel in the front and maybe the machine guns on the top, but everything else looks like it's pretty solid Lego, and there are just some wonderful details to be seen from every angle. This is definitely a model you can tell has been worked on a few times over. I think he really cleaned up a lot of lines, and it certainly doesn't feel blocky or rigid, but that's actually not such a bad thing, because the next one here is from Finn Roberts. It is the Late-Imperial Ministerial Shuttle. shuttle. If you check out the links below, you can see the original bit of artwork that this shuttle was inspired from. And this builder in particular has been doing an excellent job recently at capturing that sort of classic Star Wars style, but making completely unique ships in the process. If you look closely at this render, you'll see there's a combination of dark bluish gray and just regular dark gray, which has a way of popping just subtly enough, but giving a little bit of color and texture to the model in places that normally it probably wouldn't have. The light coming from the inside looks great, and fleshing out a more complete universe of ships that most likely existed in the Star Wars universe is super fun to kind of take a closer look at and dive deeper into. Number 4 is a super interesting build from Oscar Cederwall. This is the Zyrkowski Surge X500. It's a larger scale, modern, futuristic looking motorcycle with some extremely interesting ideas and connections. The front body of the bike is, I believe, an upside down cockpit piece for a plane. The inside of those tires are a ton of handcuff pieces all wedged together. It makes for an extremely unique shape on the interior of it. It's a subtle detail as well. And then somebody tell me what that sort of rounded white flat piece is that's connecting the back tire. I'm not totally sure. The closer and closer you look at this model, the less and less it really feels like Lego, but it really is all official Lego pieces just put together in very creative ways. And now we're jumping over to a wonderful looking model. This is from Ralf Langer. The title is The Blood, the Sweat, the Tears Behind the Scenes. This is one of my favorite builders that just does extremely detailed and very weathered, interesting architecture. The intentionally wavy rooftop that we have shows the decrepit nature of this particular building. You can also see where bits of the wall are starting to fall apart. Both the painted color is broken away and the rougher, rockier, plastered underside is starting to show. There's still some wonderfully ornate carved wood details that make up the door in the front and the outline of the amazing stained glass windows that are above it, but the workplace accident seems to be slowing them down. It's actually a pretty gruesome scene when you think about it. Now we're jumping over to something a little bit more bright and fun from Pena. This is Camden Town Houses, London. Built in the modular scale, it looks like 2 different 16 by 32 houses have come together, or apartment style buildings I should say. Their build style is relatively simple from the outside, but I absolutely love it because something like this would pop extremely well if you were to integrate this into a larger modular city diorama, with the pink building with the white trim and then the dark red with some bright red and deep blue for the rooftop. The interiors are both simple but also very accessible. Lots of animals, which is fun. And I'm telling you, models like this really would help a larger Lego city pop extremely well. They have very good colors that could really grab the eye. Now this is one of my favorite speeders. It's not necessarily a speeder, it's a little bit bigger, but it's definitely one of my favorite weird sci-fi futuristic vehicles I've seen in a while. I love the rounded shapes, the double fan intake. The title here is G19 Valkyrie High Frontier Patrol Vehicle, and the designer is Gillies. The single offset cannon with the square mouth looks really just fun and cartoony. The angular side panels of the back of this small ship have a great way of matching up with the angle of the windscreen that makes up the front. I believe we're looking at a bent Lego piece that makes up this little bit of wire detailing on the side, so that maybe is a technique that we probably would avoid normally, or perhaps that is a new Lego piece that I just haven't seen before, maybe a very old one. All in all, it's just a super fun, cartoony, bulbous kind of vehicle that still feels sleek, and it's 2021 now, so let's just say this is my favorite space vehicle I've seen so far this year. Now we're jumping on over to a builder, Stilly Brick, and this is Elvendale 2. This designer has some amazing organic creations under their belt and really helps elevate the Elven line, the whole feel of this interesting universe that LEGO's actually had going for quite a while. A really fun way of presenting this whole thing is by having Elvendale slope downward towards you. It's a great visual way of just opening up all these different scenes. The Goblin Village has some red and pink highlights which differentiate itself a bit, and they're also kind of cut off by that little stream. Then the treetop top hideaway is highlighted by purple, green, a lot of dark green in the back with the larger trees, and like the name implies, a lot of well-hidden little houses and areas on the inside. The Starlight Inn has some great details highlighted a little bit better with brown and light tan, and a pretty wonderfully ornate landing platform for the very top. Lastly, there are the lower falls with the excellent bridge, winding staircase, double waterfall, and a cave for a dragon. The sense of style for this builder is really well realized and consistent throughout this whole massive diorama, and it looks like it was a lot of fun to put together. Anyways, that is it for the top 10 mocks of the week episode. Like always, there's just links and stuff to everybody I'm talking about, a whole ton of stuff down in the description below. If you have the time, I highly recommend you check it out. Remember, you can always support the channel by going to our web store, www.brickvault.toys. If you enjoy our content, liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, or doing whatever it is you want to do is always an option for you. Hey, that rhymed. All right, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.